People don't seem to want to respect me today, so I figured I'd go live and really lay down a good sermon today. I'm having a really hard time just waking up, and it's just 9 a.m. Sunday, January 26th, 2023. How's it? 2023? Yeah, it feels like it. 2025. Oh my goodness. How's it going, everybody? Oh my goodness. How's it going? Civilian disclosure right here, right now. Oh man. Right here, right now. So, like, I am getting put on blast by a bunch of people who don't have my best interest, and they keep watching me. So, I figured I'd go live and shoot a few out there today. This video will be out on Discord and YouTube and all sorts of things. So, hey guys, how's it going? I'm back, Professor Fun 101. I'm currently making a grilled cheese, and just made myself a hot chocolate and a nice little list of things to put together for people who don't have my best interest and want to get it wrong. So I guess that's like the whole thing there, and figuring it out on how to get people to take care of it, the things. So there's a lot of people involved now, and there's people who are just scamming me and breaking my home, just because they have access to a PC and the internet. So that doesn't bode well with me and the rest of America. I kind of question the motives of some of the individuals around here who are looking to just get paid or get attention. That's even harder to be like justifying here, but it seems like that seems to be the case. So God bless them. I am Professor Fun 101 right here. Doing a little R&R here on just figure somebody's watching me. So I figured, I'll send out here for you guys, and being able to make sure that even if somebody's watching me, there are other people who are also just see what I'm doing today. 9:03, January 26, 2025, PARACONOMY Inc. So, yeah, somebody's watching me. There might be a physical camera in my apartment. But like, I'm pretty sure they're doing it with this homeopathic crystal resonancies, that nobody's really talking about. It's like this fad that came and went, and nobody told me about it. I mean, I was in the scene too, where they were doing it like pretty heavily. And it was like just a few micrograms over from whatever LSD that with the festival kids were pushing at the time. So like since they're the ones who are putting it on the Ritz, and I'm between Michigan, medical marijuana Michigan, and Chicago. And while it's being legislated here in Michigan, kids that I grew up with, were making hand over fist enough to become fiscally literate. Something I wasn't able to do until I like actually started moving back home. So I spent like 7 years away, working on audio, music, a bunch of entertainment, professional industries, networking, all sorts of things for about 7 years. And then I came back home and I had to start from scratch as a grunt doing janitor work, basically doing night shift stocking at Meijer. My mom was not proud of me, and she made sure that I had nothing but hard knocks. So that's about 10 years ago now, in 2014. So like it's, yeah. About 2015, I came home that winter. Spent a year at home for 2015 to 2016, and then I moved out here. Had like 2 jobs over those 2 years. It didn't last more than like 6 months, but I was kind of being asked a lot of, because like my mom wants to see a white boy, and she keeps getting this stuff, this goth stuff. So she's not willing to put the right fiscal literacy onto me, and I had to move out here jobless and all alone. So it's not what every Zoomer's gonna get. But I can guarantee you it's going to happen more and more often. People are going to be like, I like the way this guy turned out. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm sorry, kids. But we set the pace for some of the things here on what I was probably going to be looking at people barring your crystal communities when there's this much international espionage that could be fiscally leaked out based on a few people playing a joke with crystals. Let's see. My ex spouse was recently killed due to this crystal stuff. Monitored, killed on my birthday. Too strange of a coincidence. Because I've been thrown in jail to delay me saving that person. Because somebody started piecing things together about me. So they're taking their sweet little time. They threw me in jail a couple times. And then they're like, you got back up. We're going to kill your wife. And so now they're fucking my parents. They're having my sister go crazy with my friends. And my whole family's broken because they decided that they had PCs being better than Macintosh. More or less, it's pretty shallow. I don't really see it other than you're prettier than me. You don't think I'm good enough or here, or well, you really need a vacation. But you're not going to get that. And in fact, I'm going to make your life 10 times harder. And that's what they've been doing for the past 3 years or so. They've been monitoring me every single day, using these crystals, bullying me, being emotionally abusive. And it's coming to a head. And for whatever reason, this spirituality realm has been something that I've been taking interest in since about 10 years ago. Where it started, where I was met by a monk, a Hindu monk, a Tibetan Buddhist Hindu monk, in Boys Town, Chicago. Handed me off a book called Self-Actualization and the Healing of, I think. It's a book with the Bhagavad Gita basically peppered in as literature, and it's changed my life. And ever since then, I started tapping into the homeopathy and telepathy and the theta, beta, sigma brain waves, the beta alpha things going on. And it seems like people didn't like the way I was using it. Or at least thinking, I'm getting ahead of myself, I'm too short, and I shouldn't have access to it because I don't look like I'm 37 yet. So a lot of women kind of used it against me, and to be fair, I wasn't where I needed to be with how women were at the time. Yeah, it got sexist. And I think a lot of women decided to move to the homeopathic remedies, like my sister, and keep people that they thought would be undesirable or irresponsible at a cosmetic glance. Because what I'm starting to realize is none of these people actually dug deep enough and had certain conversations with me if this crystal magic was going to be the new technology that everybody moved forward on the right footing with. Seeing as though most of it's hidden in the PC culture of granular synthesis and plenty of other D&D 12-sided die roll, whitewashed cultural appropriation of Freemasonry, Masonic, and it becomes this very weird Illuminatic conspiracy on how people can beat death and relive their post-mortem before they start living their lives, and they can get an advancement on their afterlife to get back onto this planet. It's some weird Scientology, Thetan level theory. Satan, Thetan. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's this people playing with good and evil. And so it just seems weird that people would invite me to the party so late when things are just starting to get cracking for things. But it's been this long-term form of nepotism, the shorthand of a quick nepotism over a long like burn of like a lot of probably diamond mining going into how people have been utilizing gold and diamonds and creating inertia. But there's been more studies on it because it seems to it requires of certain things of you in order to tap into it. So if people are monitoring me and they're just using crystals, it makes sense that there's a certain type of frequency or audio, even audio codec or resonancy that you can study in complex transients when it comes to looking at the formulation of how this technology could work and surpass us from a 5D to 5G. So like if there's some sort of weird telekinesis that's attached to the 5G plates on some of the satellites and antennas out here, doesn't it make sense that we need some of this disclassification of EMF disclosure and radiation? Because if we're all being penetrated by these plates because there's a certain signal that it's replicating and it's just like mesmerizing off of alien tech, we could basically say high military technology built these things. So like at some point we have to pretend like we know what we're talking about and about backwards engineering. So if people are just being really lame and being told to be gaudy about how they use these things and being private to create this word of mouth community where it creates this better than thou access like a hipster, then wouldn't it make sense that like whatever it is that I'm experiencing currently that killed my partner on my birthday would have any ties to the people using those things? So I'm just trying to figure it out. I wanted to let the world know that it's 9/11, that I am being monitored, and it's not just by physical cameras. And I can hear people arguing and heckling and bullying me over just this clairvoyancy channel of crystal resonancies and this 5G domination over some weird, awful familiar, but weird, archaic types of theologies. So I'm here, trying to practice my Hinduism and some of my Buddhism because I was born and raised into Buddhism and Christianity. Luckily, here in Michigan, a really great state for that to happen in. However, there's some questionable loose ends on the people here. Just be careful. They are watching me for no other reason than to bully me. And they might want to do worse and even murder me. So if that's the case, at the very least, you'll get this report here at 9/14, January 26, 2025, PARACONOMY Inc. My company's basically intellectual function on human disclosure, civilian disclosure, and paranormal investigations. So if people are confused about what PARACONOMY Inc. is, we dabble in paranormal investigations and civilian disclosure. We want to get to the bottom of how this stuff works and functions. When there's so many loose ends that could be available outside of the way the world works. Now, seeing as people are currently gossiping to me about this is Alex's, 9/15, people stole my likeness. Now, I depend on some of this to be sturdy, and people have taken an extra measure to make sure that I learn a lesson. And it seems very cruel and unusual, and it shouldn't be allotted here. And so while we study it, it's good to investigate some of the things that have put me in this downward spiral, because these people put me in jail and probation for a year, then jail again. No calls, no nothing. My PO didn't call me. A lot of things went awry, and it turned into this whole stacking against me to where they could keep me poor. And so they have been attempting to make sure I have a hard time eating right. They could care less if I'm eating right, let alone if I'm housed. They've tried to put me out on the streets before. I was homeless a couple times. They put me on the run. They had me fly to Florida. They had me fly to California. So, like, I've been on the run a few times because of these crystal voices that are guide, and the internet also knows about it and doesn't want to let out a whole lot. I know I was getting misguided and all sorts of tricked on Twitter and Facebook. So it seems like there's a little bit of the Neuralink accessible that you don't actually have to buy. So like that's where if that happens to you, bring it into Paraconomy Inc. We'll be able to tell whether or not you got abducted by aliens or like had some weird spiritual ghost spirit come through your aura. Whatever it is, come bring it to Paraconomy Inc. We'll make sure if people are monitoring you and murder your friends and start getting people to sleep with your family, bring it into Paraconomy Inc. We want to make sure we can divide the wheat from the chaff and make sure that you get something good. Okay? We need something less foamy. So like that's kind of something that we can do here at Paraconomy Inc. for you. We'd be really happy to help investigate any weird, even if you want to get yourself rebranded online. I specialize in art direction and creativity and creative thinking. So if there's something that you have amiss on your AI and it seems like somebody's messing with you, there's probably a good chance to double check and see if those crystals didn't also interact and intercept something for you between then and now. So let us know. On that note, I'm going to just kind of putz around here. It's 9:18 Divine Time. We're going to hang out and keep it rolling for the morning here while we get this thing settled up. I just thought I'd give you a quick update on where I'm at really quick. My sandwich is getting cold, so I'm gonna go ahead and like chow down. You guys keep chilling. I'm gonna go put on some music and dig into this really quick, and I'll be right back. Thanks for hanging in. Paraconomy. God bless. telling me this should shut him up. It's Santa and Cookie. There's like so many BBs on my floor right now. Budges. Fun. Yeah, man. Yeah. Awkward silence is the best silence. Everybody knows that. Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't know. I can't trust anybody. I can't trust anybody right now. And the way everything got left, who knows? Yeah. Doesn't seem like everything got put back together right. And if the algorithm is on point, some of it's true. Not everything, but anything that needs to be news to me is going to be used on that algorithm. Excuse me, as I burp. So be careful, because not everything's gonna be 100% pointillage accuracy, but like at the same time, be safe, double check, and if you're being monitored or you're being questioned like this, definitely like boop boop boop, tap in a little bit, because it is going to take some time for us to get to the bottom of some of these things, but at the same time, it's not completely innate. I know that Joel Nesbitt's on the other side of this thing somewhere. I'm supposed to get him involved because they got him involved to like kill off my girlfriend Kate Vogel. So it's weird. It's complicated. I'm not sure how all the Nazis and the freaking Nazi appeasers and Trumpers and radicals got involved, because a lot of different factions of types of culture, colloquials, are involved here. My parents being included with teachers and governmental workers, including judges and jurors and all sorts of lawyers, and it's just a nightmare. So like in that sense, you can kind of diminish that. It's only the government. It's only your parents, in that sense. But in that sense, could have been stopped. Her death could have been stopped if she's really dead, which a couple of people have relayed back to me that we're sorry. So, but if there's something weird going on and she's just been body snatched, that could be weirder. So like in that sense, yeah, be careful. You never know. And until we have all the clues, that's basically some of the disclosure. Excuse me, some of the disclosure we can go through. Yeah, it's dark, but it's a food for thought. It's the first place we should start, especially if it's all because a few women couldn't hold their liquor. Yeah, because it ain't just about me. But if there's this weird fight or flight on trans people, and there's a weird discrimination against colored people, and I'm like the first Hawaiian, it starts to look weird, because you could have just told me you liked me, or like at that, even that, you could have just been like, hey, I'm gonna mind my own business, I don't know you. But they all decided they liked me a little too much, and this is what happens when people like you too much and you're popular. They can kill your friends and family a lot more easily than they can especially when you're not a celebrity like icon, like a Megan Thee Stallion economy, infamy, and iconic. Is there like any mixed word in between? I don't know, but like that's sort of my line of credit here is these people know each other. They all look like each other, and they all have the same last names at some points. So it's not hard. The government knows, and they're also just using it to test things because they want to study me, but they also want to study aliens and stuff like that. So if that's like a part of what we're here to do, um, just understand that this part of like the portion that does get a little more serious does have some feet on it, and that excuse me that it'll come to a head and people will start waking up to the factors that have also potentially betrayed them in their own lives, because this doesn't begin with me, definitely does not end with me. So if that's the casing that people know to be true out here in Michigan and abroad, but nothing's being done about it because everybody's talking about it like it's some game, then it makes sense that nobody's taking me seriously. And so by factoring it in, no one's going to take you seriously when this help happens to you, because that's how we're dealing with this. So if that's how we're dealing with this, then they definitely want to make sure that like everybody's going to be satisfied because of all of the trouble I went through to help people. And if they're going to make helping people more illegal in this country, we got to understand why. Because they're also going to make killing people more legal. America. But they're also, helping people will become more illegal and killing people will become very legal. So you got to kind of look at what it's already been doing and how it's already been playing out to be like that. But what we can do to like combat the balance here, because like if we need to take ourselves more seriously or less seriously, then we should probably consider like reaching out to finish things the right way. And if you can't, be honest about it, and move on. Don't just stick there and make it all about you. Move forward with what you get and try to get some traction, even if it's the most minuscule, because we want to be delicate in delicate situations. We don't want to be like rabble rousing, which is very familiar, and it's real easy for. I mean, the rugby team knows about rabble rousing, so like it's really easy to look at how some of those the compartmentalizing and triangulation towards that can play out and look like, and that's really a big part of how you get to this part with crystal magic too. If you have enough crystals and enough people collecting exotic odds and ends, it makes doing stuff like this much easier. So that's a process of elimination, and kind of like pulling in modulating factors and making sure that things are staying consistent and you're getting signal from input to output. So kind of funny, it's kind of funny that all these people are studying my major and making a lot of money off of it, but also they're not taking it as seriously and like sacrificing as much as me. So they might be a little embarrassed and they might be a little pissed off because like, well, if they would have just talked to me, I would have been able to teach them how to use this stuff better to where they would have been able to do what they were trying to do to me. And that's teach me a lesson that I've already learned within 10 years of the process of it happening. So if they're just testing if it worked, yes, it worked. I know what the hell I'm doing. But people have a hard time being my friend because they're all sleeping with each other and stealing from me. So of course they're done being my friend. Which is sad, but also very American. And if that's what you're gonna do, throw me out and go for it. But just understand there's a order of operations regardless if you're gonna throw me out. And I cannot factor every little last end of it, but it is here. It is something you can study and give yourself room to play with every day. And you know, keep a good thing good. It doesn't have to become so obnoxious or political or anything like that. So that's kind of my thinking is you express it, you make yourself known as how you want people to notice things, right? That's why people get upset, I think, is people only want to see what they want to see when they want to see it, and they don't want anybody else's. They want to be tourists, and they don't want anybody else's like tour over theirs to be taken up, like because I paid good money to get you in this much trouble. It felt good to feel that bad. So like that is a big part of like what can happen with some of this stuff here. Yeah, wooks. There's a lot of people who are really spiritual with some of this stuff, and well, had they like listened to the property of like keying in for Native Americans, they probably wouldn't have gotten caught up here in like woke culture lifestyle BS that is often getting railroaded over the same things. So it makes sense that people didn't know what they stuck their nose into. I'm half Filipino, half Japanese on this other end, with a lot of Chinese and stuff. And then it's sort of just the way of the dodo for my teenage dreams. Because I'm 34 now and I can't. My wife's dead. So like that's something that I can't really go back to in that sense. And people decided it for me because they wanted to see me be away, but then they also wanted to decide things for me. And when America sees women who need things decided for them, they decide things for them. So that is a part of why this sucks so much, is because this is one of the first big modern day trans girl cases where it ends up framing a trans woman who had just had the wrong marker on their license, and they exploited it hand over the motherfucker. So that's one thing that you got to kind of consider here, is that people knew what they were getting themselves into, and when they decided to push me out of the nest again, it created backsplash, and that created waves and a rippling effect that can't be undone. Lots of cool string theories that I have concocted up, but I digress. This has been a more and less than dangerous situation, and it just keeps getting worse. So like in that sense, I guess I signed up for more is less and less is more for certain things, but at the same time, I've been telling people, I've been warning people about this happening, and for me to be at this weird picture perfect bad guy end doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it happens. They'll throw you in jail, they'll delay you, they'll try to take your job and your house away from you and kill people you like. So like, just understand, if it can happen to me, I'm a nobody, and if somebody found out that I'm actually a somebody and then decided to do something to gain access to all of these other things, okay, and if they find out that there's more royalty out in America and people, and it's being hidden in plain sight like me, they're gonna definitely press down on the royalty that that it exists. Just, you're of a royal bloodline. They know this stuff in America and highly about me. So it gets strange being on this weird witness protection issue because, like, I'm in the middle of plain sight. Everybody in the my door's open. Everybody in the sidewalk can walk by and hear me and talk about this and observe it. But at the same time, everybody's using these crystals to do it. And, like, if that's the case, just come talk to me. What are we doing? Like, I am online trying to get access to the right people who would benefit from just a normal ass convo, but they're afraid that I'll get volatile and upset because they want to treat me like garbage. So, that is the America we are currently abstaining in. And if we're not actively telling people that it gets dangerous, we're not disclosing information correctly, because then people are using it willy-nilly and it's not adding to the situation but taking away from it. And when you create imbalance and displacement and gentrify people over nothing, it makes us look really selfish. And while some people might like that, most people don't. So, like, 939, that's can be like your big segue here is, like, more than likely, if you're not standing in your power and standing in your truth and having some pride, right? You got to have a little bit of an integrity attached to your discretion. But make it transparent, make it direct, and let people know how to treat you and what to do in this society, because it's clear as day. If you don't make those boundaries, it's doomed to happen. So on that note, keep yourself safe. I'm gonna be in and out today. I'll probably do a bunch of short disclosure videos. Just to keep it going. But 40 minutes seems like a pretty good way to end this video off in 2 little lectures. So, yeah, excuse me. Pretty good sandwich. I had grilled cheese. It was pretty solid. I got this cup of joe here in front of me. It's like a green tea hot chocolate I made. I don't know. But, yeah, that'll be civilian disclosure for now, for the day-to-day, and 40-minute video here, 9/41, January 26, 2025. I'll see you in a little while. I hope you guys have a great day.